TeaFairy story time, and guess what? We've got all kinds of neat things going. What was that? Did you see something? I could have sworn I saw a gnome. Did you see it? Okay, anyway, we've got all kinds of really cool things going on. Did you see something? Is my friend Gary hiding around here? Where is he?
Hey, Gary, what you doing? I'm playing hide and seek. That's what gnomes like to do. I have seen quite a few gnomes playing hide and seek in the area lately. It's fun. People like to play hide and seek too, you know. Do you like playing hide and seek with people?
Of course, that's the most fun of all.
What else do you like to do, Gary?
I like to read stories and sing songs and do crafts. Crafts are a lot of fun. So a little bird told me that you have some special guests today, and I'd like to introduce them. I'm taking over the show. Today we have 3 special guests. Our first guest, Melissa Seitz, will be singing us a song. We also have Bella Bell and her little friend who are going to teach us how to make an elf hat. Our friend Ian Blackwell will be reading us a poem written by CC Williford called The Night Before Yuletide. We also have a video about how to make pine tea and a simmer pot, which both smell wonderful. And now, without further ado, let the show begin.
The fire is so delightful, and since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Well, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. The fire is slowly dying, but my dear, we're still goodbying.
adventures to make a craft! Yay! And you know, what's the best way to spread Christmas cheer, sis? Kindness! Yes! Kindness, you guys. That is one of the best gifts that you can give. It is. Kindness. Good job, my little elf. So we were thinking, what could these kids want to do? Maybe you want to be an elf too! So we're going to get some crafts out and make elf hats with you. Yay! Hi! Bella Bell's Books here. Welcome to my workshop. Let's get started. So I pulled out one of my favorite Christmas countdown activity books and I found us an elf hat to make. So get ready to just grab some supplies. What you'll need is a little string or anything to measure the size of your head. Maybe a palm, or if you have a lot of jingle bells like me, or even a Christmas ornament might work. If you don't have any of those things, we'll just cut out a little circle for the top of the hat. Then I want you to find some paper you have on hand, some green for the hat, and any color you'd like to make your elf hat band. Hey elves, and welcome to my workshop. Today we're going to be making elf hats. Yay! So, a couple things you're going to need is a string to measure the size of your head, or you could use a tape measure instead. If you know none of that could be found around, just improvise and find something that you can use to tell how big your hat should be, okay? Next, you're going to need a green piece of paper, and it can be of either size, and whatever you have at your home works. I've got some pretty green glittery paper. I have some plain green paper, too. A little bit sturdier is helpful, too. And then you'll want to pick a trim, a color that would be fun to go around. We have some red. I even have some stripes, if that's what you like. The important fun thing about crafts is if you don't have the exact thing that you need, it's always okay to improvise. That's a good skill in life, and using what you have and recycling other things can be a lot of fun. So this is an old Christmas ornament, and you could use that for the top of your hat if you have one of those laying around, or a little pom-pom. And if you don't have any of that, you can take just a white piece of paper and anything. That's not right. Just a white piece of paper and anything on it and draw a circle around, and that could be the palm of your hat. Okay, step one, after you've measured how big your head is with a string or your measuring thing, you want to draw the elf hat. So that's what we'll do next. So just on the back of your paper and a pencil that's neat, you can just make a shape, and it'll be just kind of like this. I'll let you take a peek. It'll have a little curl. And another little round, just this kind of shape. We're going to give it a little snip and cut it out. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, we're almost done here. And that's our basic elf hat shape. Okay, so next we want to do the trim. Let me pick what I'm gonna want to put on this end right here. Okay, let's begin with the trim. Look what I found. I think this is gonna do it for me. So I'm gonna fold off a little piece that I will be doubling up, and I'm gonna give it a fold and give it a cut. Now the fun part about this is I'm gonna do some triangles. I like those pointed elf hats. They're so cute. And I hope you know that part of the other fun thing about crafting is that you could also give this as a gift. Or if you had a little classroom of friends, you could make it with them. And so we're almost done with the triangle fun. And I am wishing you all the very best on your holiday cheer, however you celebrate it this year. We're gonna take that like this, and now you see I've got some jagged edges, but I'm gonna cut it in the middle. Because this is my band that's gonna go around. Now you could do it one or two ways, depending on what you think. You can use glue if you'd like to attach them that way. But I've got some tape, and that's fun too. So here I go. I'll just take one or two, and I'll attach it together and make it a point. And tape it right up. Do, 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 do. And then the tricky part, and maybe this probably needs glue, is you stick it on the front bottom of the elf hat. Ooh. I'm going to use glue, and then we'll let this dry. I'll show you I'm going to do some zigzags, and then you'll see why. Zig, zig, zag, zag, zig, zig, zag, zag, zig, zig, zag, zag. needs to be a little more open. Okay. And then just place it right on the bottom and hold it and count. Thank you everyone for coming and doing a craft with me. It's been so much fun. We're almost done. So the last little part I just like to recommend is to put 2 little bends in the little hat and pick your palm. I think I might go red this time since my trim was red. I'm gonna just either staple it on or even use some Elmer's glue. Again, it's entirely up to you and what you have and what's handy on hand. But I happen to know this works really great. Okay, I'm back. Are we ready to finish up? I've picked my red palm and I'm gonna just give it a little staple to put it on. I want to thank you all for playing with me today and crafting a little elf hat this way. So I'm gonna give it 2 just to make sure it doesn't come loose. And then when you're done, you can make sure to check the size. And then you want to tape it. Or staple it too. Again, these little steps can be up to you. Thank you for crafting these elf hats with me. I hope you had fun and they were super easy. I appreciate you, Mrs. TeaFairy, so much. Thanks for inviting us on your Storytime adventure craft, and we hope to see you again soon.
Hi kids, welcome to TeaFairy Storytime. Today I'm reading A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement Clark Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his courses they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the courses they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but he went straight to work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Today I'm making some pine tea, and all you need is water and some pine needles from a white pine. Oops, there we go. You can tell that it's from a white pine because each little piece here, oops, don't want that in there, has, you see how it's like a little section of the pine needles, and one little grouping will have 5 little pine needles. That is how you know that it's white pine. The less you add, of course, the less piney it tastes. And I really want to taste the pine, but I also thought that, much like a simmer pot, if I simmer this in my house is going to have that nice pine smell. And then you just simmer it, and it just gives off great aroma in your house. So even if you don't end up drinking your pine tea, the smell that it's going to give to your house is going to be amazingly holiday-ish and festive, and just kind of helps put you in the mood for the holidays. And of course, the white pine also has very long pine needles. They're not the short, prickly ones like your normal household Christmas tree. Drink the tea if it's naturally harvested from someplace that you know is organic and natural. And of course, harvesting it from up high, not down low, for a variety of reasons. Get those leaves, those needles underneath the water there. And then I'm going to let it simmer. And we'll be back in a minute. They were originally this color, and now they are a darker shade of green. And I am going to strain out the water. So I've put a piece of cheesecloth here on my jar, and I've held it in place with a rubber band because that works for me. If you have a better setup, I suggest going for that. Pine tea. It smells good. This is not white pine. This is just more for the smell. This is not for flavor. This is not to drink. This is to make my house smell nice. That's what a simmer pot is for, is it makes your house smell nice. And also it helps with, while you're running the heater during the winter time, your house is really dry. This will help put some moisture back in the air to help with your sinuses and that sort of thing. Don't want that one. I also have another kind of pine. Looks very long and slender. I grabbed some cedar. I found these when I was out on a walk the other day. So again, breaking the cedar up a little bit to release the smells that are pent up in those little cedar leaves. I have some thyme, which is a spice that is used in a lot of cooking. It's also a very good tea. using citrus. And I have a cinnamon stick. It smells really yummy. Some black cardamom pods. Cardamom is used in chai. Let's see if I can break them. Get that smell out of there. It's such a lovely smell. In fact, I'm using quite a few spices that you would use in a chai. There's the cardamom, cinnamon. These are called anise, little anise stars. You see the seeds? They're adorable. I'm going to put 2 of those in there. I've got some cloves and some allspice. I'm going to grind up some black pepper and throw it in there. And again, that's just more for the peppery smell, make it more aromatic. I'm going to turn my water back on and let it simmer at a medium temperature. And it'll just kind of boil, toil and trouble, and make the house smell wonderful. And that, my friends, is a simmer pot. It's easily done at home with things that you have probably in your cupboards, as well as things that you might have growing outside your house that will just make your house smell lovely and give you some moisture in the air. Happy holidays!
"'Twas the night before Yuletide, and all through the glen not a creature was stirring, not a fox, not a hen. A mantle of snow shone brightly that night, as it lay on the ground reflecting moonlight. The fairies were nestled all snug in their trees, unmindful of flurries and a chilly north breeze. The elves and the gnomes were down in their burrows, sleeping like babes in their soft earthen furrows. When lo, the earth moved with a thunderous quake, causing chairs to fall over and dishes to break. The little folks scrambled to get on their feet, then raced to the river where they usually meet. What happened, they wondered, they questioned, they probed, as they shivered in nightclothes, some bare-armed, some robed. What caused the earth shudder? What caused her to shiver? They all spoke at once as they stood by the river, when what to their wondering eyes should appear but a shining gold light in the shape of a sphere. It blinked and it twinkled, it winked like an eye, then it flew straight up and was lost in the sky. Before they could murmur, before they could bustle, there emerged from the crowd with a swish and a rustle a stately old crone, with her hand on a cane, resplendent in green with a flowing white mane. As she passed by them, the old crone's perfume, smelling of meadows and flowers abloom, made each of the fey folk think of the spring, when the earth wakes from slumber and birds start to sing. "My name is Gaia," the old crone proclaimed, in a voice that at once was both wild and tamed. "I've come to remind you, for you seem to forget, that Yule is the time of rebirth, and yet I see no hearth fires, hear no music, no bells. The air isn't filled with rich, fragrant smells of baking and roasting and simmering stews, of cider that's mulled or other hot brews. There aren't any children at play in the snow, or houses lit up by candles aglow. Have you forgotten, my children, the fun of celebrating the rebirth of the sun?" She looked at the fey folk, her eyes going round, as they shuffled their feet and stared at the ground. Then she smiled the smile that brings light to the day. "Come, my children," she said, "let's play." They gathered the mistletoe, gathered the holly, threw off the drab, and drew on the jolly. They lit a big bonfire, they danced and they sang, they brought out the bells and clapped when they rang. They strung lights on the trees and bows, oh so merry, in colors of cranberry, bayberry, cherry. They built giant snowmen and adorned them with hats, surrounded them with snowbirds and snowcats and bats. And just before dawn, at the end of their fest, before they went homeward to seek out their rest, the fay folk they gathered round their favorite oak tree and welcomed the sun neath the tree's finery. They were just reaching home when it suddenly came. The gold light returned like an arrow-shot flame. It lit on the treetop where they could see from afar. The golden-like sphere turned into a star. The old crone just smiled at the beautiful sight. "Happy Yuletide, my children," she whispered. "Good night." By CC Williford. Happy solstice.
Wow, that was so much fun. Thank you to our friends Ian, Melissa, and Bella Bell for being on the show today. I really had fun hosting today's show, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you have very happy holidays. Bye!